I'll be sharing with you guys a few tips on how to elevate your life by 2025. And these are the tips which have helped me throughout this year. Be that girl, you feel me? This first tip is very pivotal in my opinion because this is what helped me throughout this year, and that is be a doer and not a dreamer. What I've realized throughout this year is that we come up with so many objectives and don't even do them. I think it's best that we hold ourselves accountable and to actually do the things that we say we want to do. Whether you want to create something, release something, whether it's a project, whether it's a business, whatever the case scenario, whatever it may be a doer. Actually do it. It's okay to dream and write down blueprints and things like that, but what I feel as though that we need to internalize in our mind is, what good is that dream if we're not actually doing it? What I personally realized is you will constantly be chasing a dream for like years if you don't start today. There is no such thing as perfect timing. Perfect timing is not, I don't think perfect timing is real. I feel like the time is now because you are in your prime, you're young. It doesn't matter the age at all. You are in your prime, and what good is that dream if you're going to just keep procrastinating or pushing it off till a certain time? You just have to begin now. I promise you, as time goes by, you will find the resources, you will find more ideas, you will find everything that you need to fulfill your dream. For example, when I began my podcast, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue at all what I was doing. I began praying to God and I was like, Lord, I've never built a podcast before. I've never done anything regarding a podcast in my entire life. May you help me. And when I tell you, when I said that prayer, the Lord gave me everything I needed to create my podcast. My logo, my RSS feed, how to create it on Apple, how to put it onto Spotify. I didn't even have a microphone at the time. And I was like, Lord, may you show me a good microphone which I could use for my podcast, but then I can also use for my music. Microphones, baby, I'm gonna be realistic with you. Microphones are expensive. So I was like, God, I need you to help me find these proper resources to build my podcast. And when I tell you God came through, he helped me find a microphone. He helped me find all these other things that I needed to create the podcast. I didn't come across any mistakes when building my podcast because I went to the source first. So don't underestimate God at all when it comes to your objectives, and always ask him for help. Just put into your mind that I can complete anything. I can conquer anything. I could do anything I set my mind to if I have God by my side. Yes, you could do the research. Yes, you could say you could do it for yourself. But trust me, the outcome will not be the same if you do not incorporate God into your dream. A lot of people make mistakes when it comes to creating a startup. There's so many times that I have failed from the time because I began doing projects since I was like 18, 19. And there's so many things which I have created which has failed. And it's okay because now I found what works for me, which is my podcast now and also talking to you guys on YouTube. And the thing is, within this chapter in my life, I've included God into it. In the past, I was just doing things on my own and by myself and just thinking that, oh, I can conquer whatever I need to conquer by myself, but that's why they failed. Every single project you come across in this life, what you want to create, if you do not include God into it, it will fail. But when your projects fail, it will help you to realize that above all, God has to come first, and God is the one that has to lead you through this journey of yours. So remember, there's no such thing as perfect timing. Perfect timing is a myth. If you keep postponing and postponing and postponing your start time to doing whatever you want to do, you will just be wishing and wishing and wishing and wishing, and the project will never come to pass because you are postponing. And what I realized, which has helped me to hold myself accountable, I write down like small tasks. I operate like a turtle with all my projects because that makes me feel as though I can get the most done. In order to remain consistent, if you operate through every project and every task like a turtle, then you will be fulfilled with each milestone. If you go full force into a project and you're going fast and fast and fast, it's a lot harder because now you're creating unrealistic standards for yourself. I like to write down small tasks when it comes to doing my YouTube channel. I like to write small tasks in my day-to-day life on my calendar because I feel as though I can achieve those things at a consistent pace. Whereas if I'm going into my projects with a whole bunch of lists of things that I have to do and stressing myself, it will make me, I'm like a perfectionist. Personally, I'm a perfectionist. So I like to take my time on each task which I set for myself and operate like a turtle, okay, turtle speed, to ensure that I am fulfilling each thing to the best of my abilities. Whereas if I'm just trying to push out content to you guys, push out content, it will be overwhelming, not only to me, but I don't think that I will be able to pour out the information in a way it can best fit you and benefit you. So it's good to schedule yourself and your tasks in a way where you can perform the best. Don't overwhelm yourself. It's okay to have a consistent, slow pace, but just never give up. Just be consistent. You can be consistent, you can be slow. It's okay. That's what I do personally, and it works for me because, baby, that's how my content comes out good for y'all, you know? You don't have to always operate super, super fast, or else your content or what you're giving out it just won't come out right. So it's okay to be on a slow pace when starting, even in the middle. It don't matter. It does not matter. It doesn't matter how far you are in your projects. Just have a reasonable pace where you feel as though you can catch up. Because operating at an outrageous speed, like an overly fast speed, like a rabbit, will burn you out. And that's what I realized in the past. I used to burn myself out because I tried to do so much at once. But I should have actually been keeping a reasonable pace, you feel me? There's beauty in the process, you know? In this life, everyone wants to be like an overnight success or an overnight, what is it? An overnight blossom. Sometimes in life, that's not how it's gonna turn out for everybody. When it comes to your dreams, I feel as though it's okay to struggle sometimes. You are actually building character. Your character is building, and you're actually, you know, telling yourself, reassuring yourself that one day something will come out of this, you know? There's beauty in writing down how things have gone through your day-to-day process, if you feel what I'm saying. Personally, I write everything down. You know, I could just look back and just say, like, I really overcame so much. Like, I really overcame so much. So I feel like there's beauty in the process. Write everything down. Make sure you have a journal for every single part of this journey, baby. So then you could talk about it, you know, have a story. One day you could write a book based on what you went through throughout this building process, you know? When you're building, I feel as though you should vent to God. It's not always good to vent to someone who wouldn't know what you're going through, because sometimes the criticism or the critiquing or the reassurance won't be what you need. I don't want you guys to take this the wrong way, so I'm gonna repeat it. Sometimes you don't have to always vent to someone who doesn't know or wouldn't understand what you're going through in that current phase. Hypothetically speaking, you're trying to build a project, you're trying to build your business, you're trying to build something. You can't vent to someone who wouldn't understand, because the insight or the advice they may give you may be from a place of scarcity. I remember so many times in the past I would vent to people about my project, and the advice they would tell me is, are you sure that your project will actually be a success? I begin taking the scarcity mindset that they may have, I begin to incorporate it as my own. That would immediately discourage me, because I would begin thinking like, okay, if this person doesn't believe in my dream, or this person doesn't believe in my objective, or this person. So for example, I may view life from a perspective of, I got this, God got me. Like, whatever I plan is going to come to pass because I have the power of God near me. But as soon as you vent to someone who does not understand, who does not understand that path of yours that you want to go to. Seek advice from individuals who have already overcame the journey you're in or the journey you're going through. Seek advice or seek criticism or seek reassurance from people who have actually gone through the journey you have gone through. What I've realized when it comes to networking, I ask for criticism from people who have surpassed I'm not even trying to belittle myself, but I'm just being realistic. When you speak to people who have actually surpassed your goals in life, they will tell you exactly where and how to get to your next milestone fast. Or they'll actually give you a path on what not to do and what to do to get to your next milestone quicker. Whereas if you're venting to someone who has never in their entire life gone through the objectives or gone through the struggles or gone through the path that you are wanting to go, it's like, how you gonna advise me? The possibilities, like the percentage of that person speaking fear onto your plans is high. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're trying to build projects, if you're trying to build something, seek advice and seek criticism from people who have actually done those things. Because how is someone who's never built a podcast going to tell me how to build a podcast? How can I have someone who's never posted on YouTube, someone who's never posted something or never created something or never been an entrepreneur, never been a digital creator, have never done any of these things, how can that person critique me on something they've never done before? You know, when there's actual experience in what they're telling me, it reassures me that this idea of mine is something that can actually come to pass. That's the whole thing about networking. Networking is speaking to people who have actually been in the footsteps that you're trying to go to and actually have wisdom and insight and understanding and experience, all these things on stuff that you are wanting to achieve. Another thing that I feel as though we need to take into consideration is failure does not determine your destination. So many times in my life I have failed. I have failed so many times. Whether it's come to projects, it doesn't matter what it is. I failed so many times. But the thing is, don't dwell on your failure. Your failure is only a stepping stool for your next objective. It's a stepping stool for your next milestone. If you remain scared because a previous project has failed, I promise you, you will never reach or see the success of something that God has in your future. And now you will realize that, okay, if this didn't work for this project, and how I functioned in this project did not work, what can I do better so that the next project can work? You know, it's self-analyzing, self-critiquing, self-realization. When you do not view failure as your identity and you view it as a journey, and I'm actually progressing because I'm getting closer to my actual calling, baby, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if how I'm saying it makes sense. If you question God and you be like, Lord, why is this happening to me? Why am I failing? Why is this? Why is that? He will be like, okay, I don't think you're ready for what's to come. So now I have to keep you in this phase of life, in this lesson, so that you can master it. And when I present to you what's to come, you will be able to take it with full courage. It's okay to take some risks, because if you're constantly in your comfort zone, if you're constantly operating from comfort, how do you know what's on the other side? I feel like the more risks you take in your life, the more opportunities you can come across. It's okay to move across the country. I don't know, spontaneous. It's okay to just pack your stuff and move, you know? Pack your stuff and move and start over. You don't know what kind of opportunities it comes with, you know? Me, right after school, I didn't go back home. I didn't return back to my city. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna start over. I had no plan. If you watch one of my vlogs from a while back, I had no plan on how I was gonna start over. Like, I was just operating on spontaneous vibes. And now I am grateful, because if I were to operate with comfort and in my comfort zone, I would not have been able to, I don't know. There's so many miracles which have happened between school and now. Would I be able to have seen those miracles if I operated with comfort and going back to my home and just like, you know, going to something I'm used to. No, allow God to be at the forefront, you know? It's okay to take some risks. Not some outrageous risks, which is like life-threatening risks, but like risks which you know will not jeopardize something insanely, you know? There's no such thing as perfect timing. Just do your big one, you feel me? So if you didn't see my previous video, I want you to function with confidence. I think I'm gonna link this video right here. Function with confidence. Because here's the thing, when you function with confidence, it's actually tricking your subconscious, you know? Because sometimes in our mind we may self-sabotage. Can I actually do this? Will this actually come to pass? You know, sometimes we're fighting our own brain. But when you operate in confidence and you operate in the confidence that God has given to you, the confidence that God has instilled within you, to not fear, to not have doubt, putting on that full armor of God, the full armor of God. That's what I mean by godly confidence. Put on that full armor, baby. And you be deep in your word at the same time. You will win. You will win at every single thing that you do. Because you place God and you place his armor. You place God and his armor at the forefront of every part of the battle. So don't have fear. Never have fear when you're creating something, because you know God is right next to you. God is right next to you the entire time. Don't ever tell yourself you can't do anything. Don't ever tell yourself that what you plan will not come to pass, because that's you cursing yourself, remember? The tongue is powerful. Operate with positivity. Don't put negative things upon your tongue and upon your path and upon your objective, because you are actually cursing your plans. Do not invite degrading criticism, because that's also cursing your plans. And if somebody has the audacity to speak negatively or degrade your plan, that's not your friend. That is not your friend. And it's okay to just be like, okay, since you want to speak like that about my plan, I'ma distance myself from you, you know? How can you say that you're my friend, or how can you say that you love me if you're speaking ill on the plan that I've already gave unto God to carry out for me? Write it down. My plan already prospered. Write it in present tense. When you write down your ideas, when you write everything down, write like it's already happened. Write positive affirmations upon your plans, because the power of God, I'm gonna spell y'all a little tea or something. When I don't have an idea, or when I begin questioning like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do next, I write in my journal. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what to do. And the thing is, God will give you an idea, whether it's through a dream, whether it's through whatever. He will send the Holy Spirit to come whisper something into your ear as a next idea on what you should release. Allow God to ingrain his ideas into you. Allow him to speak through you. When I'm doing my podcast, you know what's so crazy? When I be doing my podcast, prior to me beginning my podcast and beginning an episode, I pray and I'm like, God, I do not want to be the one speaking. I want you to speak through me. And when I tell you, during my podcast, I zone out. When I go back and rewatch the video, I be shooketh, because I'm like, that was not me talking. I promise you, that was not me talking. Every time I go back, anything that has to do with me preaching or doing a podcast or anything speaking about God, I always have to go back and re-listen, because I promise you, it's not me speaking. It is God speaking through me, pushing words out. Like, because when I look at myself, I'm like, Lord, I don't even know I was capable. Like, that's not me. It's really not me. And when you ask God to lead you, when you ask God to speak through you, when you ask God to be the core foundation of each thing that you come across, baby, don't underestimate the power of God. We serve an omnipresent God. Man, I don't think y'all ready for this one, because baby, let me tell you something. When you're in this next phase of life, I want you to analyze your values. It's okay to set up boundaries, you know? Before this year even starts, 2025, I want you to do a thorough audit of your life. And when I say a thorough audit, at the top of a page, take out a notebook, take out a piece of paper. At the top, I want you to write the year you were born. The month, date, year you were born, your date of birth. At the bottom of the page, write the current date down. From 1 to the bottom of the page. And I want you to write down every single milestone. I want you to write down every single thing you've come across in your life, whether good or bad. You will see the power of God through that, because you will see things which you in the past did not understand, but now you understand. Sometimes you will go through things in your life to prepare you for the next calling. Sometimes you will go through things in your life because it needs to equip you for the next phase. A lot of things in your life is not in vain. It just did not happen in vain. It happened with a purpose. In order to grow, you have to go through some battles. You have to go through some dilemmas. You have to go through some circumstances to mentally build you. When you do this thorough life audit, you will realize that everything in your past is what builds you into the person that you are today. In this new phase of life, I want you to minimize hanging out aimlessly. Like, if you find yourself just hanging out and just, you know, hanging out with no objective, if it's not you networking, if it's not you actually speaking with people in your community to build your mental mindset, what is the point of you aimlessly hanging out? You know, there should be a reason behind each hangout. If you're hanging out with friends, if you're hanging out with new people, if you're doing new things, there should be an actual valuable exchange with every hangout. Whether you're building your mind, whether you're building your goals, whether you're building yourself as a person, view each hangout as something that needs to be an actual pivotal exchange. It can't just be aimless. You know, life is too fragile to be out here living aimlessly. There's friendships that you're just like, there's no exchange within the friendship. It's like you're not learning anything from that friendship. You know, it's just vibes, and that's not and this is me talking to myself too. I'm not just trust me, within this video I'm actually lecturing myself too. We need to develop friendships with core values and core meanings, where we can be able to build each other and take each other to the next step. Not just to be aimlessly vibing, just aimlessly talking, just aimlessly, you know? If there is no exchange, if there is no mental exchange, where we're feeding each other knowledge, or we're feeding each other the word of God, what's the point of the friendship? What is the point of the friendship? And you know, what I'm very particular with friendships nowadays is being friends with people who actually support you, who actually support your ideas. Jealousy and monitoring spirits is a real thing. I don't want no parts in that. If I feel as though I feel that you're jealous of me, or you're trying to compete with me, or you're trying to be a monitoring spirit, I'm not gonna hang out with you no more. I view friendships as actual love. If I call you my sister, because when I think of sisterhood, I think of like bloodline sisterhood. The moment I call you my sister and I feel as though you're contradicting what a sister means to me, I can't hang with you no more. I can't. We gotta cut ties. Sisterhood, friendship, I'm deep with that stuff. I don't play. Within these past 2 years, I've made several cutoffs because I felt energy or vibes. Why are you my friend, or why are you my best friend and you're trying to take my ideas like I see it? Or why are you trying to move funny as if we're in competition? Like, I don't like stuff like that. I don't. And if you're a person that doesn't want to feed into me the way I feed into you, or network, or give positive advice or positive ideas, or when I come up with an idea or I have an accomplishment and I feel that you're not supportive, if I have an accomplishment and I feel as though you're not supporting me when you had an accomplishment and I supported you with open arms, that's the cutoff of the friendship. That's the cutoff. Like, I can't. If I view sisterhood as bloodline sisterhood, as like we're locked in sisterhood, as in I want you to be the aunties of my future kids, why are you being weird? So, you know, sometimes analyze your friendships. And sometimes when God gives you a discernment, oh my God, when God gives you a discernment and you see like, oh, this person moving funny, being very cautious. We got to be very cautious in this phase of life, being extremely cautious. At the end of the day, we have to go back to God for guidance. Don't underestimate the knowledge that he can give you or feed into you. The next thing is alter your mindset. Do things which keeps your mind busy. If you feel there are certain things in your life that's keeping you from living up to your full potential, decrease it or remove it or cut it out, you know, try to cut it out. We've got to be very particular with what we consume, whether that's things on the internet, whether it's stuff we're reading. You know, we have to be very particular. If it's not enhancing our mind or actually helping us to ponder more, it's okay for you to get out your shell. Make sure you're unlocking your fullest potential. Go to the highest extent of any project. Go to the highest extent of anything. I said this in a couple videos back. If you can sing, if you're talented, if you know that you have a gift, go to the fullest extent with your gift, because you do not know the blessing behind you putting in the effort. You do not know how far God will take you. Because here's the thing, all you have to do is put in a little bit of effort, a great amount of effort that you can possibly put in, and God will handle the rest. God will handle the rest. If you just put the maximum amount of effort that you can possibly put in, God will handle the rest. And sometimes we need to take into consideration that it's actually us which is keeping us stagnant. I know sometimes we like to blame it on other things, that, oh, if this didn't happen in my life, or this da-da-da, or this da-da-da. No, sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's us which is keeping us stagnant. Really ponder on what's keeping you stagnant. Is it a scarcity mindset? Is it fear? Is it doubt? And you know, once you realize that it's negative things which is keeping you stagnant, redirect how you think, redirect it, and allow God to take over your mind. Allow God to consume your mind. The way God functions, it's so beautiful. He can revamp your mind into thinking better, into doing better. When I look at my past, I never thought, when I look back, y'all, I never thought, like, I don't know, I have such a testimony, and it's not even like, it's like a grand testimony. I mean, I spoke about it on my podcast, but if I go in depth on my testimony, mercy Jesus, my life, you know, sometimes we're causing ourselves to be in bondage. We are the ones causing ourselves to be in bondage sometimes. But when you ask God to remove those shackles, baby, God can do his big one. God can do monumental things. In this life, no one's like an expert at everything. We're all constantly trying to learn. And it's okay to operate as a student, you know, as someone who's always learning, who wants to learn. It is okay to set expectations for yourself. Like, you know, by the end of, you know, each month, having expectations on certain milestones or having expectations for certain things. And it can start off with, it can be the simplest thing. It could be going on a walk every day. It can be a changed diet. It could be anything. Setting annual expectations, monthly expectations, weekly expectations. It's okay to set expectations for yourself, because that will help you to grow. And lastly, I want you to remember that if you focus on what you left behind, you will never know what lies ahead. Don't focus on what you left behind. What's coming is grand. Just know that with God, everything gonna be grand, baby. Just know that every single thing with God will be grand. I'm being honest with you. If I didn't have God with me, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know where my life would be. There's so, like, when you look back upon life and, you know, the mistakes you've made or the positive milestones you come across, and it's just like God was with you the whole time. You know, God was with me the entire time. Even when I made my mistakes, even when I came across milestones, even when I was doubting myself or underestimating myself or whatever in the past, God was with me the whole time, but he was just waiting for me to click, you know? So just know you are capable of anything and everything you set your mind to, if and only if you have God. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.